What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything you need to know about and what's happening here in our country on a daily basis. In this video, we got some major news here directly from the president and even a governor here of a major state with a lot going on here, and why gas prices are going up and could reach $4 here very, very soon. That's right, and let's jump right in here. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below and click the bell icon after you subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Let's jump right in. Okay, President Biden rolled out what they're calling the Renters' Bill of Rights as lawmakers are pushing for federal rent control laws. Yeah, you can see here in the face of sky-high rents, President Joe Biden is rolling out a new set of principles the White House is calling a Renters' Bill of Rights in an effort to improve rents and affordability and protection for tenants. The president is directing the FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, to examine limits on rent increases for future investments and actions promoting renter protections. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commissions, and the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau have been tapped to root out practices that unfairly prevent applicants and tenants from accessing or staying in housing. This rollout comes as progressive Democrats have asked Biden to direct different agencies, including the FTC, to limit rent increases. While rent control is common in some cities, there has never been federal residential rent control. Nearly 50 progressive lawmakers, including Senator Elizabeth Warren and Representative AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, sent a letter to Biden earlier this month urging the president to take executive action to protect tenants from rising rents. Writing, quote, "In the absence of robust investments and fair, affordable housing, it is clear that additional timely executive action, aka executive orders, is needed to address the urgent issue of historically high rental costs and housing instabilities," the lawmakers wrote. "We urge your administration to pursue all possible strategies to end corporate price gouging in the real estate sector." The letter also asked to have the FHFA to put in rent protection for tenants living in properties financed with government-backed mortgage properties, which is more closely aligned with what the president outlined on Wednesday, and to cap actual rental increase to 5% per year for federal or state subsidized affordable housing. Now, in some ways, though, this is difficult because for people that personally own rental homes or rent out homes, as on the side or something like that, costs have gone up significantly, especially if the owners pay for electricity. Electricity costs have soared, largely because of oil and gas prices. Remember, about 40% of electricity comes from natural gas, which has at one point in the year tripled in cost, just natural gas alone. Okay, it went from $3.50 a unit to $9 a unit. Then it came back down and went back up. And remember, we've seen the price of gas and the price of diesel go up considerably. Remember that right now, I'll get to gas here in a moment, but over in Europe, and in fact, I'll show you this. Let me show you this now, actually. So right now, our national average gas price here has gone up pretty significantly for regular gas, okay? And you can see diesel here too. $3.48. A week ago, it was $3.35. So we have gone up 13 cents for regular gas at the pump in 1 week. 13 cents in 1 week. And a month ago, it was $3.10. So we've gone up 38 cents in a month, okay? And also, you can see here diesel's actually stayed the same in a month, because it's so $4.69, $4.66. Diesel's very, very expensive though. Remember, diesel actually takes less refining than regular gasoline. Still very, very expensive. I seen gas in Ohio, or I seen diesel in Ohio at $5.99 when regular gas was $2.99. It was literally double the price. So price gouging at its finest. And remember that diesel is a large factor in why food is so expensive and just anything you buy at the store is so expensive because it has to be shipped there via a semi truck. Okay, so we see regular gas prices going up pretty considerably here. It's gone up 38 cents in just a month. Okay, also you can see here, so if that continues, I mean, we're looking at hitting $4 a gallon really in by February. You can see the headlines here from Fox Business here, Fox News. Gas price spikes as demand increases, according to AAA. U.S. to face colder winter months with less oil supply, driving gas prices up. Also, gas prices could reach $4 a gallon by April, maybe sooner. If that trend continues, it could be a lot sooner as well. Also, I wanted to show you this graph here. This was sent here to me by one of our viewers, actually, Unforgiven774. Thank you so much for this. So this is actually a website that I use a lot, but I mostly just get it from Google here. You can Google any price in the world, gas prices in any country. Okay, but I've never seen this particular part of the website. It shows a chart of all the gas prices in the world. So what we can do here is we can change it to US dollars and US gallons here, and it shows how much each country in the world is compared to the US dollars. Okay, so compared to the US here, which we're right here, there's only a few countries less than us. Okay, and you also got to remember there's some currency differences here. So, for example, here, they have Venezuela listed at 6 cents a gallon in Venezuela, but you got to remember that Venezuela, their currency has basically collapsed, and you can't buy hardly anything in Venezuela. People have fled the country because their currency has collapsed. In fact, I want to show you this about Venezuela so you can kind of understand the currency problem with some of these countries. Venezuela's year-over-year inflation in December was likely 305% inflation. So our inflation right now is 6.5%, and we hit a high of 9%. Venezuela's inflation is 305%. Venezuela's economy is facing the danger of hyperinflationary outbreak, which is gaining strength with sustained devaluation on the bolivar carried out by the central bank. So they have 305% inflation. This is because their economy is collapsing. Their dollar is collapsing. This is why some of these currencies are just they're just not even reliable to look at. Same thing with kind of Libya and Iran. You got to take some of these really lower countries with a grain of salt. Same thing with kind of Kuwait and Egypt and Nigeria. Some of these countries are not really the greatest example, but there are some countries that are cheaper and also really, really rich in oil. But kind of the main thing to take in Saudi Arabia, very, very rich in oil. But the best thing to kind of look at here is that there's only a few countries here that are cheaper in gas prices. Now, remember, these are US dollars and US gallons. What I want you to look at here, so here's the USA. Look at all the countries that are more expensive than the US here per dollar and per gallon here. So these are all the countries that are more expensive here than the US. It's really about 90% of the world. And you look at some of these countries here. Hong Kong is $11.16. Norway is $8.80, Iceland $8.50, Finland $7.70, Israel $8, Switzerland $7.30, Italy $7.50. The United Kingdom, one of our closest allies, $6.94 for a gallon of gas. This is in U.S. dollars and U.S. gallons. Again, you can just look at the list here. Ireland, $6.46. We'll look at some other kind of big names here. What else do we see? Ukraine, $5.01. Yeah, just a lot of them. Canada, $4.90, almost $5 a gallon, significantly more expensive than us. And again, would you blame that on Biden or whoever you would want to blame it on here? Japan, $4.74, China, $4.56, and they've been, supposedly buying, Putin's cheap oil. Still, their gas is over $1 more per gallon, more expensive than ours. So you can see here, all these countries more expensive than the United States here. Just literally hundreds of them. So this is what most people don't realize here. I'm a data-driven person. I like to look at this stuff here. And this is a very, very helpful kind of thing here. Also, I wanted to show you this here as well. Because again, I'm just a data-driven person here. The day that Biden came into office here was January 20th, 2021. So yeah, the day he came into office was January 20th, 2021. This is a chart from the government, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the EIA. It's EIA.gov. This is a weekly U.S. field production of crude oil. This is how much crude oil is produced in the United States every week. This is how much oil we produce, okay? And let me go here to January 20th, so the first week in January. So right about here is where the first week of January, okay? We produced just under 11,000 barrels per day, in thousands of barrels, okay? So 10,900,000 barrels per day, okay? And again, this is kind of, because of COVID, and we are now producing more barrels per day than when Biden came into office. So you can see the chart here actually goes up and has been steadily going up here since Biden came into office. So, you always kind of hear the rhetoric. And again, I'm not choosing side here. I'm just kind of looking at the data here. So the oil industry has actually been producing more and more oil since Biden has come into office. So we are now producing 12,200 barrels per day. And we're getting close to the all-time high ever of 13,000 barrels per day. Again, 1,000 barrels per day here. Okay, that was back in February of 2020 before the pandemic hit. That dropped considerably once the pandemic hit, back when Trump was president, and it dropped all the way down to 9,700 barrels per day, and it stayed low until after Trump left office. And you could see it was in the 9,000 range, 9,900, 10,000 until Trump left office. Okay, so again, you can see here that oil production has actually went up since Biden has been in office. Okay, so one might ask, why has gas prices gone up? Well, that would be a good question. So if the U.S. has actually raised production in oil, what else might be the reason for this? Well, there's a couple things you can think about. One, we hear politicians talk about this, is corporate greed. We've actually seen the headlines here. The oil industry and these oil companies have actually made more profit than ever in the last 12 to 18 months. Okay, they've actually made dozens and dozens of these companies have made the most profit ever. Hundreds of billions of dollars of profit. And literally they're what are they using it for? They're mostly using it for corporate buybacks, stock buybacks. Okay. The CEO of, I think it was Chevron, said they're never going to build another refinery in the US ever because they don't want to spend the money, but they're spending dozens of billions of dollars in stock buybacks. So it kind of gives you an idea of where their priorities are. You guys can let me know your thoughts on it. They're not really investing a lot of this money in what could lower the price of refineries, refining. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but it is what it is. Now, they're slowly ramping up production little by little by little, but they're doing it in a strategic way so it doesn't lower the cost too much. One of the other major factors is, and I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but it has been the war in Ukraine, because remember that oil is largely a global price. Okay, oil prices, when you look at them, when you look at these prices of oil here, the prices of oil are global prices. The US doesn't have a US price of crude oil or Brent oil. Okay, so the US is producing a little bit more oil each month, or each quarter. Okay, but the problem is we're seeing a significant reduction in oil prices, or in oil production, for the rest of the world, namely Russia and Ukraine and over there, because nobody wants to buy Russian oil. The US isn't buying it, and most of the Europe is not buying Russian oil anymore. Okay, and Russia is the number 2 or number 3 largest producer in the world, and this has basically caused a significant shortage in the market and has sent oil prices up significantly. Okay, and we've seen the high in June, back when this was $140 a barrel. Okay, you can see we're significantly lower than that, but we haven't really seen gas prices. We've seen them come down from $5 a gallon, but they're actually higher than they should be. Now, natural gas prices have come down significantly. Remember, this seen a high of $9 a unit. Now look at where it's at. It's below $3 a unit. If you're not locked into a natural gas contract, your prices should be much, much lower. But these things fluctuate on the drop of a dime. Literally within 30 days, these things can fluctuate. They can go from under $3 to $6 to $9 very, very quickly. You would be surprised at how quickly this can fluctuate, these natural gas prices. And believe it or not, a lot of it has to do with Russia and Ukraine and Europe, and the supply chain constraints there. Yeah, so remember, oil and gas prices have a lot to do with global prices. Global prices. And I think that chart was very, very helpful for people to kind of understand this. We actually have cheaper prices than about, what was it, about 90% of the world, 85% of the world. And a lot of those countries like, Venezuela and Iraq and Kuwait and stuff like that, you really can't even count those countries, because I don't know if you'd really want to live in Iraq or Venezuela. I mean, those places, I mean, their economies aren't even really stable. Or, I mean, Venezuela has just, their whole economy has crumbled. I mean, yeah, so I thought this was very, very eye-opening to look at. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. And it's, yes, the U.S. does need to produce more oil, and also needs to, on a government level, produce more clean energy, because the more solar energy, the more wind energy, and the more nuclear energy we produce on a government level, the more we need to use oil and diesel and stuff like that. So the less demand it takes for that on a government level as well, which would lower the price of natural gas and diesel and gasoline as well, which is a good thing. And it also would lower emissions on a good thing, which is a good thing as well. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. Here's some videos you can watch next. Here's my video I just did with $2,000 checks that were just announced here. So click on that video next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.